Welcome everyone to Signature Talk to Experts Tuesday. My name is Jamie Gregory and I will be your moderator for this session. Today we are going to be talking about Qlik monitoring apps, taking a little tour, if you will. So we do have a few housekeeping rules that I do want to go over. It is a live session today and you will be able to ask questions using the Q&A panel below. So make sure you're using the Q&A panel to get your questions in for our experts. We're not going to be talking about any other products or anything like that. We're also not going to be able to talk about any open cases that you might have. We'll leave that to the actual people that are working cases right now. So if you could just use the Q&A panel to get your questions in, that would be really great. For today's session, we do have a survey after this session or once you leave the session. If you pop on to get your question asked and answered, that's completely okay if you need to hop back off. But we do ask that you take that survey. It takes less than a minute. It gives you the opportunity to let us know how we're doing with these sessions, any topics that you might want to see in the future, as well as give any of our panelists a shout out for doing an amazing job today. So we'll hope you take the opportunity to take that survey and just let us know how we're doing. If you don't get the survey, that's okay, and you want to give us some feedback, you can email us at digital@qlik.com. That is one of our support email addresses, and we'd be happy to have any feedback using the email address as well. All right, so let's go ahead and jump in. I have a great set of panelists with me here today. Joining me is Alexis Tuet from, I'm just drawing a blank here. I'm sorry, Alexis. He's a senior technical support engineer. I also have Mike Dixon joining, also a senior technical support engineer, and Jay Brown. I keep wanting to say signature, but I guess you guys are all on the signature team. But he is also a senior technical support engineer. And then I also have Katie Davis with me here today. If you didn't join our last session, it was just a general session. Katie joined on that one as well. She is our senior community programs manager. So I'm going to go ahead and allow everyone else to introduce themselves. Alexis, can you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Sure, Jamie. So hello, everyone. So I'm Alexis. I work with Qlik since about 3 years now. And I'm a senior technical support engineer and specialize more in the back end of our products.
Great, thank you. Welcome. And Mike.
Hey, my name's Mike Dixon. I've been working with Qlik for a little over 6 years now, working out of the Raleigh office in United States. Yeah, go ahead.
Great, thank you, Mike. And Jay.
Yeah, name is Jay Brown. I've been at Qlik for 5.5 years. I also work in the Raleigh, North Carolina, USA office. I've been primarily Sense focused, and most of that has been back end as well.
Perfect, thank you. And Katie.
Hello, as Jamie said, I'm a senior community program manager. I joined our digital support team just a little shy of 2 months ago, so I'm learning alongside all of you. And I'm excited to see all the questions that are being asked today.
Great, well, thank you, Katie. And again, my name is Jamie Gregory. I am the community operations manager here at Qlik. I've been with Qlik almost 4 years, and I'm also in Raleigh with Mike and Jay. All right, so we're going to go ahead and jump into our questions. We did get quite a few questions on the registration, so thank you to everyone that put your questions there. So we're just going to go ahead and kick it off. Again, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A panel to get your questions answered. We're going to reserve the chat if possible, just for any feedback or if you're having any problems with the webinar or anything like that, or if we send any links out. All right, so let's go ahead and just jump right in. The first question is, well, the first one's just a comment. So we'll just read it and hopefully we can get some feedback and hopefully it'll answer through the session. The first person said that they're just looking to understand what the monitoring tools are, what monitoring tools are available, and getting the monitoring tools to be consistent across the board. So hopefully that session will be able to help you. If you have any specific questions, again, if you're on the session, go ahead and use the Q&A panel to get your specific questions in. Okay, so the first one question is kind of long, so just bear with me. If you guys need me to reread it or anything, just let me know. We are trying to build our in-house solution for Qlik usage. We initially started to consume the QVDs created by the Qlik session monitor, and during our testing figured out that the QVDs built by the app are not validating against the app. We did put in a ticket with Qlik, and they came back that they can't help us with the QVDs because it's a very complex logic the way the QVDs are now built. So we've decided to build our own app using the log files generated by Qlik. During our validations, we've discovered the below. Sessions are lasting more than 24 hours. A single user has sessions like 76,000 in 1 month. My question is, how is this possible? We've put in another ticket, but it seems like it might be an app corruption. Does anyone have any suggestions or ideas of why this might be happening? Why their sessions might be lasting longer than 24 hours or single users?
So I can sort of speak to this a little bit. Usually it's a case of a little bit, forgive the term, like garbage in, garbage out. If you actually look at the log data for these sessions, sometimes you'll see that there were tens or hundreds of sessions within a single second or within a single millisecond. That's where you get like that 76,000 number from. Now, whether that is an issue with session burst, or whether it's an issue with some network device constantly kind of resetting sessions and those types of things, normally the customer will get some issues presented to them in the front end. One of the things that's kind of important to remember, so you do have to just go manually validate that data, but one of the things that's important to remember is the sessions, well, not the sessions, but the monitoring apps in general, those are built off the QVDs, and the log structure and the the fields and those types of things, they change. And so I've talked a lot with the developers behind the monitoring apps, and in general, QVDs across multiple versions are not really supported due to some of the changes that take place version to version. So what you should typically try to do is, whenever you have a monitoring app that's showing you what you want to be seen, if you're going to upgrade, go ahead and save a copy of that monitoring app as an archive type of a thing. And then when you upgrade and you get the new version of the monitoring app, if you see anomalies or see things that don't make sense, go ahead and plan on deleting those QVDs and rebuilding them fresh with the new monitoring app. That way you have the best copy of the data going forward.
That makes sense. Great, thank you, Jay.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. So the next question, how to monitor central node failover and how to find out, well, this is more about failover. Do you guys want to talk about failover?
Yeah, I can discuss that, Jamie. So
all right, I'll just finish reading the question really quick so everyone can hear it, and then I'll let you take the floor, Alexis.
Sure.
So how to monitor central node failover and how to find out the root cause of the failover, how to get alerted about it. This is critical to us as our internal service talks directly to original central node using the engine API, and the failover stops the internal service. So go ahead and take the floor, Alexis, sorry.
Yeah, no problem. So with our monitoring apps, you don't get to monitor that specific aspect of the product. However, this can be done by probably doing your own solution, because when you have a failover happening, there is an API that can be consulted in the QRS where you can see which server is the actual central. So by monitoring this API, you could probably build up your own tool. Within the logs also, you get some logs that are telling you when a failover starts. So if you have some tools that monitor Qlik's and log file, like for example Datadog, Splunk, you could probably build up your own solution regarding be alerted for this kind of scenario. And yeah, we don't have something that comes into play when it comes to the alert about when this happens. So yeah, you will need to build your own solution regarding this.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Alexis. Okay, and there was a follow-up to your response, Jay, and they're asking, wouldn't you lose the historical data that way?
Well, so that's the reason that you want to save an archived copy of the app. Like you want to save a copy of it so you can look back over that historical data. Like if you export the app, and you have a copy of it static as it sits, you stop it from reloading, getting new data, those types of things, and you just have that archive copy. We have customers that do like an annual upgrade type of a schedule, or every 6 months, and they'll have a different copy of the monitoring apps for that 6-month period. I've seen customers that actually had Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 copy of operations monitor or sessions monitor. That way they can look back specifically at time. So if something does happen with the QVD and things go bad, they can pretty easily look at historical data.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And correct me if I'm wrong on this, Jay. When you do an upgrade and it does a new import of the new monitoring apps to your environment, does the publish and replace, the old ones are still there. They're just changed to with the version they were. The name of the monitoring app has changed with the version, and it's changed to owner of SA_repository. So if by chance you didn't do an export, they still should be in your environment.
Mm.
Awesome. Great.
That's
Thank
correct.
you.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. Next question. How do we monitor for certain symptoms? For example, fiber loop, single threaded operation, and how to get alerted of certain symptoms?
Now, as far as the alerting, I'm not sure. Like, I haven't personally done much with the alerting tools, so I don't know if Jay or Alex will be able to talk about the alerting. But as far as monitoring, you can, when you see certain errors, when you do the reload of the monitoring apps, you can filter in on those specific logs or the time frame within the monitoring apps, the operation monitor. For example, you can go into a certain time frame of when you had issues. Unfortunately, it's reactive in regards to that aspect, and it's not going to send you an alert. But if the alerting tool is available for that, I'm not sure. I don't think it is, because I think it's more for tasks.
Yeah, there is also one specific app. It's called the Log Monitor that as Mike mentioned, it's more on the reactive way. So you will have to reload the tab and filter by warnings, for example, and then go to your timestamp and see what happened at that time. And yeah, as far as it gets for alerting, as Mike, I'm not sure how it goes with our Qlik alerting. So sorry for that.
Yeah, I mean, this will also kind of present itself sometimes in the operations monitor. If you go to the performance tab, you'll see kind of QlikSense CPU, QlikSense engine RAM will be going up pretty significantly if you're getting into the realm of fiber loop stall errors. So I would share my screen, but for some reason it's blocking me from doing that, which is fine.
Do you need me to stop?
If you don't mind. Yeah, I can just show really quick. Okay, yeah. So I don't know if everyone is familiar with these, but I do encourage you to open each of the monitoring apps and kind of cycle through all the sheets and kind of see what kind of information you can get. But in general, if you see numbers where the CPU is going high consistently, certain times a day, those types of things, and RAM is going high certain types of day, that this can give you some insight into, do what Alexa says, go into the log monitor, see what kind of messages are being spammed, look for things like fiber loop stalls and that type of stuff. But yeah, if you just look at your overviews of most of your monitoring apps, they'll give you some vital information that could be give you some advance warning if things are getting, being highly utilized or starting to go bad.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. It seems like alerting is kind of a hot topic for today's session. I think that I'll take that as a note for one of our next upcoming sessions, that we might need to get something going about Qlik alerting, so we can have some more questions, get the right people on the call for that, and get your questions answered on that. Okay, great. Next question. How to monitor what's inside the RAM. For example, I think a table with below field will help me to understand roughly what's happening in the server: fields, app name, number of active concurrent users, RAM usage, cache. Can you monitor what's happening with the RAM?
I believe that's going to be mostly going to be within the telemetry dashboard, as far as how the RAM is being used inside of specific app objects. The telemetry dashboard is available down to to download and install through the diagnostic toolkit .qlikpoc.com. Let me just send a quick link to that.
Yeah.
Let's go. But on there, there's a good instructions, or there's a link to, you can get the latest version of the telemetry dashboard. At the bottom, it'll take you to a GitHub. There's some very good videos available on the wiki page for this that talks about how to get it all set up and how to get all the data you need out of it.
Perfect.
I think that's going to be your most robust as far as capturing the CPU and RAM utilization for objects, CPU, and how long things take for running the reload the tasks and whatnot.
Great, thank you, Mike. And we did have a comment in the chat that someone says that they do believe that you can create alerts from the monitoring apps, and they've tested a simple one and it works. So that is good. Thank you for that feedback. Like I said, I think it's a good topic, and that we should have a session on Qlik alerting in general. So we'll get that figured and scheduled out for everybody.
Yeah. Can you stop sharing for just a moment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm by no means an expert, but yeah, that is correct. So if you open alerting, you can add alert title, description, and the source for the app. And
I can't see anything just yet. There we go.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah, I didn't quite get through the confirmation there. Okay. Yeah. So if you open alerting, you can set up a data alert, which will allow you to focus on an app and a specific measure. If you see, a certain filter or something, if it goes above a certain number, it can alert you in that way. Perfect. So those of you that have never seen it, you might want to check out some videos on the Qlik Help YouTube channel and get familiar.
And is alerting separate?
It is. It's a separate product. Yeah.
So if it is something that you're interested in, you might want to reach out to your account team and they can help get you started. But you can at least start taking a look at resources to see if maybe it would fit your needs. Okay. All right. So this is another long one. We'll kind of take it step by step, I think. So currently I'm quite much in reactive mode. I started to investigate only when users report an issue or an incident, which I think is pretty common. Ideally, I want to start an investigation when first couple of symptoms appear. Then there is a higher possibility that the issue is fixed before the users notice it. Proactive mode is my target. It is also the reason why I asked the above questions. So those were all the questions above from that person. But they added on that it would be nice to get some advice, ideas, comments, guidance about proactive monitoring and alerting. And here are some of the pain points about the available monitoring apps, and would appreciate any comments or advice on how to ease this. They're generally big, which I believe is a common sentiment, with a complex data model. And there are many things in it that we do not use. The apps take a lot of resources during the reload. We used to use an hour reload, now we only do it daily. And to keep the performance, I have to sacrifice historical data, which we kind of discussed already, but hopefully that clears some of that up. Currently, we only keep 60 days, but in some situations, 90 to 180 days are better to observe certain behavior. And the information is scattered between the different apps. Is there anything that you guys, any advice that you might have for being a little bit more proactive? Or anything else, any of the other comments?
Actually, I found a resource that that made our enterprise architecture team available, very interesting in that regard, because that gives you a plan of what kind of activities you could do daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly. And some of those activities are referring to the monitoring apps, so it tells you exactly what you need to check. I'm going to try to share my screen.
Okay, I'll go ahead and stop.
If I can.
I'll paste a link to the admin playbook.
Perfect. Thanks, Mike. Is that this screen? Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
We're
So
seeing
that's-
the question, not the actual
They were
playbook.
seeing
Oh.
Word, maybe the wrong screen.
Sorry about that. So I have to get used to this.
Webinar is a little bit different.
Get back there. Okay, so.
Yep.
Is that the correct screen now?
Yep. There we go.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you very much. So that's the Qlik Sense admin playbook, and it gives you a lot of different activities that you can be running either daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly, yearly. You will find in this here a lot of resources that are concerning the monitoring apps. For example, this one concerned the operation monitor. And it gives you, if you click on the links, it gives you what you should be looking after, for example. So you get the same with the telemetry. So what Mike mentioned before with the telemetry dashboard. So to review what objects are very expensive, for example. You can check also the task. And yeah, I found this very, very useful. This one also, we didn't discuss this one yet also, but this is called the Analyze App Metadata Analyzer, which gives you a lot of information on how the design of the apps have been made, if they have been quite efficient in terms of performance, and what you should be looking after to potentially improve your apps. So yeah, usually I would encourage to follow the different links on this page, and that could help to be proactive and to prevent any issues to come.
Perfect. That's great. Thank you, Alexis. Okay. All right. So I think we got through the registration questions. So now we'll just jump into the Q&A panel. Again, if you have any questions, please use the Q&A panel and we'll get our experts to think about them. All right, so here we go. This person, I think, has a couple questions, but how do we integrate monitoring apps with custom data from our business? For example, we want to integrate employee names or line of business, cost center. We can take a copy of the monitoring apps and modify the scripts to join our data set with the monitoring apps data model, but after upgrade, it is difficult to keep both apps in sync. Does anyone have any ideas?
Yeah, I mean, so I think this is just going to be app dev overhead. If it looks like someone would like to answer this question, so.
Oh, I clicked the answer. That we're
You clicked that. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, there's some overhead there. That goes back to what I mentioned earlier about some of the logs changing and the fields changing. So I don't really have an easy answer for this. It's anytime you're modifying one of our monitoring apps, you're taking a risk that it's going to break after an upgrade, because you know, we're constantly adding new features and changing the way the logic and the way we approach the data that we want to display. So there was just going to be some app dev overhead with that. So you know, you're going to be, it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. Hopefully we keep it as stable as possible.
That makes sense. Thank you, Jay. Okay, next question. is there any monitoring app that will show the selections that were made and the users that made those selections from a particular app?
So not that I know of, but that could be a feature request. I think that could be a feature that would like a lot of different customers, I think. So yeah, I would submit a feature request for that.
Okay, awesome. I'm just going to pull up our community site here. Just give me 1 second, and everyone can see my screen in the community website.
Mhm.
Perfect. So out here on community, it's community.qlik.com. We do have the ideation section, which is what Alexis is talking about. So if you go here, you can submit a request. It is monitored on a bi-weekly basis by all of our product managers, and it's really any products you can come in and put a request in. But you can search. So if you just use the search here, you can search current ideation requests and just see if it's already out there. Something like that might already be out there, but just take a double check. And then if not, you can go ahead and go back up here to ideation and then suggest an idea, which will allow you to post in here as well. Like I said, they are looked at on a bi-weekly basis by our product managers, and they do communicate throughout the life cycle of the ideation request. Sometimes they'll let you know that, it's going to be about, 6 to 9 months or something like that, or, maybe they need a little bit more feedback or more users to get on board with that idea. But the important thing is to remember is that when you post an idea, the more traction an idea gets, the more likely that it will be added into the product. So if it's something that you think that would benefit, the entire Qlik ecosystem of users, I would definitely suggest sending it out to as many people as you can, internals and people out in the community. Maybe if you post about it in one of the forums, like, hey, I created this idea. If you agree, can you please give it a like or comments or something like that. Just another quick thing about ideation is that you do have to be a customer partner or luminary, which all of you are, but you do have to have a community account. So if you don't have that, you might want to go ahead and get one going, and then you can, hang out in the community with the rest of our Qlik users and hopefully provide some value feedback and get some valid feedback in return from other users.
Jamie, do you have a quick way to display how you would be able to search the ideas that are currently out there so that they're not duplicating?
Yep, all you have to do is just go into the toolbar here, click on search. Some suggestions will pop up. You can take a look at it through there, or you can go ahead and search. And then honestly, you want to go back here. This is our unified search. And so it does pull in everything. So just make sure you're on the ideas tab. And then you can quickly search anything regarding monitoring apps or whatever your search term is. And that's the easiest way to go ahead and search those and see if there's something out there already. And if you want to share your support for that idea, you can go ahead and comment or like the post as well. Awesome. Kind of with that, I'll go ahead. I'm going to go to this next slide. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but the support case portal is moving. Katie, I don't know if you want to talk a little bit about this. She's been a part of it a little bit more than I have. So we'll give her the floor for a minute and then we'll jump back in the questions.
Yeah, so our support case portal, you guys might be used to going to support.qlik.com. We're just moving to another link. We're living under the community neighborhood on Qlik Community. If you go to our support page, underneath that ribbon will now be a case portal. You'll have to be logged in to submit cases, so it's the same security. You'll see your you'll log in with your business account, and once you create cases, you can see all of your organization's active and closed cases. If you want to search community before putting in a case, you can look at our knowledge base articles, you can look at, release notes for product upgrades, and you can even search our webinars that you're attending right now. We have lots more like these that will hopefully help answer all the questions you have. Another exciting feature that I almost forgot about is our chat function, will be
Oh, yeah.
joining community as well. So on all those support pages, if you want a quick, easy answer, you want to contact us directly, just start a chat. And from there, we can direct you to different articles, or if it's more complicated, we can direct you to create a case.
Perfect. Great. So that is October 4th. Very exciting. So next Monday, that is a change that is coming. You can see in the banner here that we have more information. I believe Katie did a blog post about it under the support updates blog. And then also, so you will come here under support, and there will be a section here for the case portal. And you'll see that there. And like she said, you do have to be logged in. There was one more thing that I was going, oh yeah, okay. I didn't put it in the slides, and no, I wish I had, but the next general session for Talk to Experts Tuesday, which may be rebranded by then, just to give you a heads up so you're not too confused, that is the case portal chatbot and community session. So we will be discussing all the changes that are coming, and you can ask any of your questions on that session. So we'll hope you will be able to join us. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the chat for everyone. So if you want to go ahead and sign up now, usually we have the QR code, so I do apologize about that. But I'll go ahead and put the registration link in the chat here, so you can go ahead and sign up for that if you want to join, or if you have any questions about some of the changes that are happening with the support portal, the new chat bot, or just community in general. We have a lot of new stuff that's coming, so it's really exciting. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hop back into our questions. All right, so the monitoring app takes about 45 minutes, or updates take about 45 minutes. Is this normal? We usually need to look at recent activity and need to rerun the update every time there's an issue we want to look at on our server, like memory or CPU. Does running the monitoring app impact the server, memory, CPU, etc., which is usually what we are trying to test or monitor? In other words, are we making server performance worse when running the monitoring app update?
I think that's all dependent on your environment. If you're reloading the application on a dedicated scheduler node, then and that your end users are not consuming the apps on, then you're not affecting the performance for the end users. Running the monitoring apps, it'll consume CPU and RAM, just like any application that you reload, but it'll be on the node that's doing the reload. So if you have a dedicated scheduler node, then it won't affect the performance for the end users. As far as it taking a long time, it all depends on like the historical data, like how far back how old are your logs, how large are your QVD files, are they 3 gigs, 4 gigs, or are they small? Depending on how many nodes you have, how big the environment is, how far back your logs go, is depending on how long it takes. So it can take. Yes, it's normal if you have a large environment.
Yeah, and just to kind of piggyback off of that, it's common for us in our lab environments for the operations monitor to take half an hour, 45 minutes, but something like a license monitor, something small, to take 5 minutes. So that's and I will also add one caveat to what Mike said. It won't actually impact engine performance, but if you have some repository problems, like if you have hundreds of thousands of users in your UDCs, or if you have millions of app objects, then reloading those monitoring apps and hitting those tables and iterating through those can cause repository performance issues, which may present as slow performance for some of your users. So it's something to keep in mind. As long as everything is healthy, then you shouldn't impact your performance.
Perfect. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but at being signature clients, you do have access to your CSM that can start like a health check and review of your environment. So you might want to reach out to your CSM, and if you're having concerns about your environment or the health of your environment, you can start those discussions with your CSM, and they can help you with that and get that taken care of. Perfect. So we just have a couple more questions in the queue. So if you have any more questions, again, please use the Q&A panel. If we don't get any more questions, we will end the session. So if you have questions, get them in. So Here we go. Last couple questions that we have right now. Is there a possibility in Qlik to connect the database in live mode rather than developing QVD and present the data to users? If yes, how does the live mode approach? How would the live mode approach would be implemented in the administration console QMC level? Do we need to change any configurations from the Qlik end? By the way, we are not currently using Qlik in a live mode. We are always developing QVD and then developing apps for our users.
As far as I know, the monitoring apps are, I don't know of a way to set it up for live mode. I don't know if that's on the roadmap either, but I don't know if Jay or Alexis has heard different.
No, it's pretty consistent. It's meant to be a not a real-time solution, just data that current to the last reload.
Okay. If that's something that maybe you're interested in seeing or something like that, again, that might be a good discussion with your CSM, but also an idea to put into ideation. Maybe that would, and you can pass it along, of course, to other users and get. Also, I would suggest posting in the forums. There's, Qlik Sense development, app development. That might be a good forum just to get people's feedback on that. Maybe someone has done it out there and we just don't know about it. So if you're out on the community, let me see if I can get my browser. I have too many webinar screens up. Can't get to my browser. There we go. All right. So if you go here to forums, data analytics, and then Qlik Sense, there's app development here. So that might be a good question just to kind of ask the Qlik Sense Nation and see if they have any feedback of anything that they've been able to do.
And the last line of this says we're always developing QVD and then developing apps for our users. This makes it seem like this is not really specific to monitoring apps. So maybe this this particular attendee should look into on-demand app generation, because that's a little bit more of a real-time type presentation of data. So that could be an option. If we're not talking about monitoring apps and we're by chance talking about app development in general, on-demand app generation may get you where you want to go.
Perfect. Thank you, Jay. Okay, next question. We have several clusters. Is there a possibility to combine the data from different clusters into one place? If yes, what is the best way to combine the data?
When you say different clusters, I'm assuming you mean like different environments where you have a prod environment, a dev environment, and like a UAT environment. I'm wondering if they're all different environments and they're not necessarily connected. I don't know of a way to easily get all of the same data, all the data within one monitoring app. But if it's a clustered environment where you have multiple servers for prod, then yes, you can set up your monitoring apps for a multi-node environment where it will show you all of the information for each of the nodes. Let me find the link as far as setting up multi-node environment.
Okay, thank you, Michael. We'll just give you a second to find that link. And she said, yes, we have a backend and several front-end clusters. Each cluster has their own monitoring apps. It'll be nice to have everything in one backend cluster.
I mean, so you could set up an archive logs connection to the other clusters as long as they're shared, and it will display them, but it's kind of difficult to get that logs directory all on those servers. And I think best practice is just recommended to segment those environments. So you're not comparing two environments that are not similarly sized and not similarly loaded. So it could give you some false insights. But I mean, you could technically set up data connections to the other log locations and view the archive stuff, but yeah, I don't think that we would recommend that as a best practice, but possible maybe, yeah.
Okay, and here's the article. Mike did put the article in the chat, so you can take a look at that and see if it helps. And we're getting a couple of thank yous. Perfect. And we do have one more question. So again, I'm going to go ahead and do a last call for questions. So if you have any more questions, go ahead and use the Q&A panel to get your questions in. Let's see, the last question that we have right now is, we are planning to change our licensing model to Analyzer and Professional. In this case, around 70,000 users will be imported into Qlik QMC. Will it affect the monitoring app's reload timings since the repository table will grow more due to the additional users?
Yes. Yeah, if you add users, you add user attributes. Just like if you add app objects, it will take longer to reload those, to reload those and hit those tables.
I don't think the attributes are taken into effect inside the monitoring apps itself, just the user, the user base, I think would be in there, but not all of the attributes.
Okay.
Perfect. Hopefully that helps. All right, well, we haven't gotten any more questions. So we'll go ahead and end the session. Thank you, everyone. Those were some really great questions. I hope you got, oh, we got one more. Is there a place to understand users' behavior? Is there a monitoring app that you can understand the user's behavior?
I mean, I think this goes back to telemetry dashboard, right? It allows you to show what was sort of selected and what sheets were visited. It doesn't go as granular as, you know, what filters were entered and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that gives you more, telemetry dashboard gives you a little more insight into user behavior.
Okay, perfect. So you can take a look at that. Again, that link is in the chat. And so you can hopefully grab that link. It is it the admin playbook or is it completely separate? Diagnostic toolkit? Yeah, diagnostic toolkit.
Yeah, the admin playbook will have links to the dashboard and all those telemetry dashboards and everything. But yeah, both will work.
I'll go ahead and put the diagnostic toolkit back in the chat again, so it's at the bottom there, so you don't have to search. So you can grab that link. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you found this session beneficial. If you have any more questions or anything like that, just let us know. You can use the digital@qlik.com for questions regarding this session. The link, the video will be posted out on the Qlik community. Everything goes under here under support programs and talk to experts Tuesday. So you can see past sessions as well. We've done quite a few sessions that honestly have, included some more information about the admin playbook and even probably Qlik telemetry. So those might be a good resource to check out as well, along with the documentation that the team here provided today. So thank you once again for joining. Thank you to Alexis, Mike, Jay, and Katie for joining us today as our panelists. Again, you do have that survey that you can fill out. Let us know your feedback. You can also give all of these amazing people some kudos out on that survey. So thank you once again. Hopefully you'll be able to join us for our October 19th session. We'll let you know when the next signature session is coming up. And yeah, so great. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful day and thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Bye.
Thank you.